everybody, welcome back to the RoundPier podcast, RoundPier Ruminates. I'm Lindsay.
I'm Grace.
And I'm Manona.
Thank you for joining us.
All right, so now that the end of high school is pretty much approaching and a lot of people are ending school, just wanted to congratulate the high school seniors for graduating and also for those who are just finishing up their school year.
So we're excited to welcome our guest, Ina Lynn, a RoundPier intern alumni and in Yale University.
Yeah, hi everyone. My name is Tina. I'm from New York City, and as a past intern at RoundPier, I was a content engagement head, and I'll be attending Yale for the fall with an intended major in economics, but that could probably change.
Okay. And then first question to start off, could you please tell us a little bit about your high school journey and one of the most important lessons you've learned throughout it?
Yeah, so my high school journey was, I guess, pretty unique in the sense that um, there was COVID. There were also a lot of things that happened along the way that I didn't really expect. And what happened during my freshman year, I was really undecided about what I was interested in, what I wanted to do in college, as most high schoolers. And I didn't really know really much about the college process in general. And then sophomore year came, and this was also during COVID, which was pretty weird because everything was remote, classes were remote. But I think it gave me a lot of flexibility to pursue my interests a bit more and explore being the highest classroom. So I was able to take the online course in economics, and I think it sparked my interest in the field, and it made me think more about the applications of this field to other subject matters such as psychology with the prisoners dilemma, or just the empirical tools that economics can provide us to solve different policy issues that affect our communities that we inhabit, and just society at large. And then junior year came, and we came back to school. It was a bit awkward because we spent the whole year and a half over Zoom. So it was Zoom school, and then transitioning back to the classroom was quite weird, but I think it helped foster more of a sense of self, and it gave me more independence in terms of being able to find my own friend group throughout the process. And then senior year came, and there was just a lot of college applications going on, things to do surrounding applying, where to, what majors, where you want to go. The most important lesson I've taken away throughout my high school journey is you're able to find your own person, and you're able to mold your own experience based on changing interests, changing beliefs, and just changing yourself about redefining your own experience. I think a lot of students might think of high school as more of a linear path, but I think that conception might be a bit mistaken, because I think that a lot of times your interests can change and change as a person, but just remember to grow from it and not to really constrain yourself to certain fields of study that you were really set on freshman year of high school. You can change that even if you're junior senior. So yeah, that's what I learned.
Yeah,
I
I really
think
like
that's
that goal. Sorry. Throughout your answer, I was thinking about how times in COVID really helps especially younger people discover themselves before they're told who they are by their peers, and so I think that was really interesting. And your class is actually it's the first class to go through half of high school as quarantining. So do you think you would be a lot different without having the first 2 years in quarantine?
Yeah, honestly, I think it'll be so much more different. I don't think a lot of things would have happened. I would not have ventured out and explored a different field of study like economics, because during COVID there were obviously COVID brought a lot of constraints on things, but like in terms of in-person events or just like in-person learning opportunities or just the classroom. But I think that also gave a lot of like good benefits as well because like there were a proliferation of like online programs, online classes that were offered like for free. Like the economics class, it was live, it was taught by like a Columbia graduate, and it was like all free that I was able to like take part in. And there were also a lot of like flexible opportunities to like pursue your interests. Like um a lot of nonprofits, like student-run organizations also popped up during this time. And it was also pretty interesting for me to see because I think that with this, you kind of see how like your high school experience isn't as localized anymore. And it became more of like this global experience that's shared by like fellow high school like yourself. And just being able to meet like new students and learn from others, other cultures, international students. So that was really cool. And I really enjoyed it. And I think that, COVID is kind of like a blessing in disguise, I guess. It's yeah.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I feel like having like all of these online opportunities, if you turn to them, it's like a really nice way of sort of just like you said, like trying different things
Mhm.
out and seeing like what different things you're interested in and how it's definitely like not at all a linear path. And I think that's like a really good thing to keep in mind. So I just wanted to ask, is there any like regrets you have like during this period? Like if there was anything like academically or socially that if you could go back, you change?
Yeah, I definitely have a lot of regrets. I think that as you kind of like mature throughout your high school experience, there's a lot of things that you want to change. And I think that if I had to like go back to my high school experience, I would definitely like during COVID, like I wasn't really like talking to any of my like past classmates or just like my friends or anything because I don't know, like I guess I was just like really caught up with like my own family, um, just like starting my own like organization and things. I think that it kind of like turned into this whirlpool of like so many new people, so many opportunities that to the point that I wasn't really like fostering that social connection or just like reaching out to my like high school friends as much and just like losing that connection along the way because I think a lot of the times that like especially if you're like a high achieving student, you kind of like prioritize other things over social or like having social connections. But I think at the end of the day, like having social capital or just like being able to reach out to people that you know is like super important, especially for like your own mental health, your own like connection in the future, just being able to like, like talk to people and like be personable and yeah.
That's really awesome. Honestly, I feel like social relationships are really important, and a lot of the times they're not as emphasized in high school. But speaking of social relationships, Lindsay and Grace and me are all three still in high school, and we're each in different grades ourselves. So we did want to ask, uh, there's something that you would give, like one piece of advice you'd give to each year of high school, starting with freshmen, of course.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, of course. So if you're currently a freshman in high school, I recommend for you to explore your interests more. So in terms of like seeing what piques your interest, like just try and narrow it down a bit. I know like when I was a freshman in high school, I was kind of set on like medicine and like the traditional like pre-med track. Um, but I think what helped me like narrow that focus is taking like online classes where you're able to, experiment with different classes because I think freshman year is like really this time for exploration, for experimentation, and not to like pigeonhole yourself into like a specific field of study that early because you don't want to like specialize too early. Um, and then for like, I guess for sophomores, I recommend for you to like, I guess like continue to find those interests, and then like maybe start like a club, maybe do like participate in like any like leadership activities or like programs, and just try to like find a reputation for yourself in those clubs. So in the future, as an upperclassman, like you can sort of like continue top leadership position or even like myself, like to experiment with something, find a problem, identify a problem that you see in your own community or in your school, which for me was like the lack of economics classes in my high school, which led me to start a nonprofit organization. So definitely like identify those like problems and I guess like those gaps and try to like do something about it. And then for juniors, I really recommend for you to focus more on like strengthening your impact in like the existing, I guess maybe programs, clubs, or extracurricular commitments that you're doing, and just try to like magnify and continually like improve the impact you're making because it helps tremendously. And by senior year, you have stuff to put on like what you really did because you like to quantify your impact. You don't just want to like be like qualitative about it. Like, like qualitative more like I was a content intern and I helped write content or something like that. While like quantifying it is like I wrote 50 articles, I edited 50 articles, and this led to like blank percent increase in like I guess like traffic for the website or something of that nature. And then for seniors, I know kind of like they're kind of like at this stage, at this more pivotal stage where you sort of need to like really get your college application game on and start applying. So that's definitely what I recommend. So around this time last year, when I was a senior or rising senior, I was drafting my college essays and trying to carve this narrative and find this narrative myself in the sense that I tried to like tie all the clubs, all the activities I did, and just tried to like tie them all together into no cohesive narrative of who I am, what I want to do. So those are just like general tips that I want to give. But yeah, I guess just like the common thread is not to really like pigeonhole yourself into like certain interests too early. Just keep exploring, but also like by the time that you're upperclassmen, try to refine those interests and find your narrative.
Yeah, I really like that response, especially like finding like establishing a reputation for yourself so that way you can kind of like get deeper into it like later on. But also like I know you did college applications this year and then Grace is also a rising senior next school year. So what is something you wish you knew before starting the college application process?
Yeah, honestly, I think I have like a lot of regrets for the college application process, but I think it honestly like this is kind of more like it's very like common for people to say this, but I think it's definitely true. Like it will work out at the end. And also, I guess just be motivated throughout the process because I think sometimes it's really hard to see the light at the end of the tunnel. Like for me, like I guess, like in the like after I submitted my applications or when I was writing it, I was like, wow, there's like no end to this, no end in sight. Like I don't know if I'm gonna end up at a great place. Like I don't know what I'll do. And just having this like I don't know, like it's not like a midlife crisis, like a mid-teen, mid transition to college crisis, I guess. Um, and yeah, I guess that's also something that I wish I knew. And I guess another thing is for like identifying colleges that you want to go to, I thought helped me was just I guess reflecting on your own high school experience and seeing what colleges, I guess like what changes you would make to your own high school experience and try to like bring that to college and do that and try to bring that insight into your college surge college refinement process. Um, and I think another thing is definitely start early. Like there's like time is of the essence, I guess. Start early, try to craft your narrative early, try to just do things early will really help in the long term. And also just um, try to have a balanced and realistic view towards college application because now that I'm like like basically done with it, I think that all the worrying and all the stress, honestly, it wasn't like too worth it at the end. Not like in the sense that like it wasn't like worth it, but it was just like really taxing for like my own mental health, I guess. And for like my social relationships with like my friends and things like that. So just really try to have a balanced view of it because honestly, like I guess college applications really isn't a healthy deal, and there are other things in life, and this is just like a really short term view that you can have. Just try to have like more long term view of just things.
Yeah, I think that's very, very valuable insight. And just like as someone who's about to like start on the entire process, I think it's a really good reminder. Just like definitely with like how competitive it is and like everyone trying to shoot
Mm-hmm.
for their goal school. It's just like a good reminder to like ground yourself and know that this is just one piece of like the bigger picture. But yeah, I think that's something that RoundPier also emphasizes a lot. Like Greg, our founder, really hones in on that point that you mentioned. So just wanted to ask our final question before we start our ask and receive segment. And that's, how did RoundPier play into your high school journey? If you want to talk about that.
Yeah, so for me, I think RoundPier really helped me through my high school journey, in the sense that I was able to find a lot of opportunities on RoundPier. I was able to promote a lot of different things. I was able to find communities on RoundPier that really caters to my own specifics and find students who are interested in field as well. And I also like, I think that another thing that RoundPier does really nicely is just being a lot of like experience to high schoolers because I work in the content engagement department where I helped like refine a lot of like the content deliverables. I did a bunch of interviews and I was actually able to find a lot of connections as well because um I remember like when I was doing the college application process right after I received all my college acceptances, I was really confused as to like which college I wanted to go to after receiving all this like decisions. So I actually like, reached out to a past RoundPier intern who went to like Cornell Dyson, and I just asked her about her experiences, and she was really nice. She set up a call, and we just talked about that. Um, so I definitely think that a good thing that RoundPier does is just give you the connections, give you like the opportunities to explore, and help you find the communities or just interests that you might want to do, and opportunities in the sense of like scholarship opportunities, like summer program opportunities, or just like the community really like talk to others who have similar interests as you.
That's really
Awesome.
interesting.
So I just have to say, like, that concludes our interview segment. And now let's focus on the ask and receive segment. And this is where people from the RoundPier community have sent in questions that they have for seniors. And hopefully they're able to get some of the answers.
So we asked this more like towards last month and the month before. So the first question was, what's one thing you wish you did or are glad you did during your junior year?
Yeah, so for me, I think something that I'm really grateful I did during my junior year was start exploring colleges. Um, like start exploring the college options available. Like there's liberal arts colleges, there's research universities, there's pre-professional based, college programs. And I think just trying to like refine your focus is tremendously helpful as you navigate college applications because I don't know, there's like thousands of colleges in the United States or just like international. So it can really, really daunting to sift through all those options. And what helped me was like I borrowed a book from a library. It was something like 350 colleges in the US or something like that. I went through like page by page and I wanted to see like which college I might be interested in and maybe made like a 30 like maybe found like 30 colleges that I would be interested in. And then later on started to refine that and shortened it to maybe like around 20. So definitely try to narrow like the colleges that you want to apply to because like that is the whole process in it of itself. Like you have to first find the college that you're interested in and then like start applying because you can't do it before like you can't like start applying without like finding a college that you really want to apply to or might like pique your interest or speak to you, you know?
Yeah. I'm just curious, how many did you apply to? Like, how many did you end up applying to?
Yeah, I ended up applying to 17 colleges, which is a lot to be honest, because I know like the average is probably like 12. But for me, I thought it was sort of difficult for me to narrow it down because I think when I was like going into the process, I was like just kind of nervous that I wouldn't have enough options, one, or just having anxiety that I would end up where I really wanted to go. That was like the second like concern that I had. Um, but I think that a good like starting point or a good like number to apply to really depends on your own preferences. Like if you think you can manage to apply to, maybe 10, then just apply to 10. If you think you don't like you want to stay local, there's not maybe you want to apply to maybe like 5, like that's totally fine as well. Just trying to find a number for yourself, while also like being balanced in the process is important because for me that was 17. Maybe for another person that might be just 10, like it's based on you.
Yeah, definitely good point that it's like very customizable. All right, so our next question is, are there any opportunities on RoundPier, like any like competitions or summer programs that you that stood out really to you and that you feel would be good to do for just like our listeners?
Yeah, of course. So in terms of like the opportunities around here, I definitely think that like if there are like any intern positions open on like for the round peer team, definitely like recommend you to apply because I think it's a great learning opportunity regardless if you're interested in like working on nonprofit in the future. But I think it's just like to get like like just like time or like it primes you for like the future, I guess. And competitions in general, I think there are a lot of like case competitions, entrepreneurship competitions that I definitely think you should. Uh, I don't have like any specific off the top of my head, but I think that competitions can be really valuable in the sense that it can help you sort of like know what you're good at. It can help you get some teamwork. It's also really great for your award section on the college application. Um, and it's also really good for you to, I guess, like meet new people um, who can serve as like your future connections, your future mentors, or other things, or future friends. And for summer programs, I think one um, that one of my friends did was like the Yale Young Global Scholars. But now Brown Peer like sponsors like the scholarship for that as well. Um, I know that one is really great. When my friend did it, I didn't do it personally because I was doing something else for the summer. But I know that one's really great if you want to explore like different areas of your field, like I mentioned before, it's really great to do that. Another one that I really recommend is the Bank of America Leaders Program. And I'm actually doing it this summer. But I would say if you can do it like during the summer between your junior year to senior year, that is also great as well because that's another talking point that you can put on your application. For me, I did it kind of late because last year I was just like kind of swamped with things and I was kind of lazy to be honest last year to like applying to these programs since their application was really long. But I kind of regret that in retrospect. But hey, like it's not too late, I guess. Um,
Could I
and I
ask you
know
to
there's like yeah,
could I ask you to repeat that name?
yeah, it's the Bank of America Student Leaders Program.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, and there's like a lot of also like programs like math camps. There's like maybe you're interested in the arts. There's also some programs specifically tailored for like rising seniors actually or rising juniors that you should definitely check out. It's like fly-in programs. This is really great if you're a first generation or like low income, and colleges will actually like fly you into like certain like colleges. Like there's like the Penn and Folk program. There's like I think it was like the Swarthmore like fly-in programs, Williams fly-in program, where it basically gives you like it's like the summer program. It might be like a few days over the summer. This is more specific to rising seniors, but they like the colleges sponsor you to fly into the colleges to I guess just like experience college life. And I think it gives you an edge in college applications as well. So definitely check that out. I didn't know it before. Like I was kind of sad because I kind of like found figured it out like after college applications ended. So I was kind of sad at. But another thing is just like a bunch of programs and local programs as well. I did a few local programs. In New York City, there's a lot, and I was able to intern at like a center, UWC, which were really great, especially for my interests. So just keep an eye out and just apply if you have a chance to because they'll help tremendously.
So final question, sorry, not the final question. That was a lie. I apologize. What were you most unexpected to experience in high school other than the usual classes and stuff?
Yeah, I think the most something that I least expected to experience through high school was probably just like I don't know, like I think high school is kind of like a roller coaster for me specifically because I did not expect to like start a whole like nonprofit like student-led organization myself. But I think that it might seem unachievable at first, but I think really it just starts with an idea. It starts with a problem, you identify that problem, and then you have an idea of how to it's like a solution. Then you just start building like recruiting team members to help you. Um, and just like motivating them, having like a common mission statement, values that you guys aspire to, just like a mission of what you guys want to do, the solutions that you guys want. And I think that that was probably one of like the most formative experience that I've had throughout high school, if to be honest, because I think it taught me a lot of like great skills of like event management, team management, just being able to meet a bunch of amazing people from around the world. Because if I did not venture out, I would not have gotten these opportunities. And I think that another thing about like starting your own like club or organization is that you basically have to teach yourself. So you're kind of like teaching yourself the ropes, I guess, and you're just like learning along the way. And I think it's really valuable since it also teaches you like a lot of like indirect skills, such as like being independent, knowing how to work with others. And it's a great talking point, especially if you're like on this podcast or just like talking to adults or like, people that might be interested in what you've done. Yeah.
I think that's really cool. It's like I think definitely like having done like some things that I definitely did not know how to do before and just like diving into it. It's like it feels really exciting as you're like planning it out and just the anticipation. But now the actual last question is how do you think your life after high school will look?
Yeah, honestly, I think graduating from high school is kind of like a bittersweet experience because I think it also marks this period of transition and this period of like continued like growth throughout college. And I think my life after high school, like, I'm going to Yale. But I think it's beyond that. Like it's not just for like the brand name or like the prestige or anything. I think it will mark another period of my time where I'll experience another like period of like growth, um, and just like a lot of learning along the way, and also a lot of like sticking to what I found throughout high school, like my interests, like continuing those interests, continuing the pursuits that I'm currently doing, and also just being able to get a college education. And I think the great value about college is that you're able to like it teaches you not what to think but how to think. And I think it teaches you a lot of like critical thinking skills. And I think that's something that is really valuable since I kind of like value like being able to learn, being able to like learn different perspectives and not just be confined to like this echo chamber. But really, like what I'm hoping my life after high school look like is just continued growth and continue like branching off of my interest from high school that I've cultivated and just taking it to the next level, I guess.
Yeah, that's really, really exciting. And I'm sure I can speak for like the entirety of like the RoundPier team, but like you as like leading the content just like did so much for RoundPier, and I wish nothing but the best like when you go on to college and beyond. So thank you so much again for joining our podcast. And I know you have some things in the talks for your future and different things that you're working on right now. So if you'd like, you can definitely mention them now.
Yeah, of course. So, like as I mentioned in the podcast, I started a nonprofit organization, and it's a fiscally sponsored student-run organization, and we connect high school and college students to the world of business, finance, and economics through a bunch of speaker events, competitions, and a mentorship program. And it's called the Global Youth Economics Forum. You could find us on Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok, um, and like Linktree, and handle is at the GYF on Instagram, and that's where you can find like the other links as well. And if you guys are interested in learning more about like college applications, navigating like the process because it's like a really long and like scary process, or just like learning more about um how I approached it and also my experience like throughout college as I'll be like vlogging. You guys can check out my YouTube channel. You could just search me up. It's Lina Lin, so Lina and a space LIN, and you guys can find me on YouTube. And yeah. So definitely check it out if you want. I hope it helps.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, well,
You were really helpful, and I think it helped ease a lot of anxieties, especially within rising seniors like Grace herself. I think hearing from somebody that's gone through the experience is really helpful no matter what age or what year of high school you're in. So this has been really enlightening, and we thank you much for your knowledge and your time. All right, guys, make sure to follow Lina on YouTube. Make sure to look up the Global Youth Economics Forum if you are interested in economics or business. As for us, thank you for listening to RoundPier Ruminates. Make sure to follow RoundPier on all its social media platforms, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and download our app because we're really cool on there. Our website is always open and it is free, and we sponsor many competitions, and the most recent one, medical competition, and the entrepreneur competition is still running. And please make sure to participate as much as you can, and we thank all for your time. Thank you.
Thank you.